Lobster.
All right.
Channel you in a lobster.
All right, fine.
Spencer.
Fucking weirdos. The following podcast may contain adult language and an abundance of fucking salt. So get ready, nerds, and say hello to your mother for me, because we're talking infinite.
That was really good.
I liked it.
Chef's kiss opening. That was awesome.
Woo! That was tough. Welcome, everybody, to the Salty Nerd Podcast. Thank you for joining us today. We're talking about the new Paramount Plus movie, Infinite, with Mark Wahlberg, and I'm joined, as always, by my fantastic panel of nerds. Matt Vader, 74. What's up, dude?
That's so much energy.
Woo! I'm energized today.
Man, I can't follow that. That's awesome. I'm trying to like come down off the Jack Daniels and the vodka. So yeah, we're good.
Show the watchers how many fucking Red Bulls
Oh
you've
my
been
God,
drinking.
dude. He's 2 Red Bulls in, half a bottle of Jack Daniels, and some vodka. God damn it, dude.
You're a warrior.
Well,
He's the bearded barbarian.
It was one of those days. It was a big day for us.
It has been a big weekend.
We got a lot
We
of new
celebrated
followers.
with some wine, too.
Yeah, we popped open a bottle of wine for Corky over there.
Yeah.
Say hello to the Cork.
Corky gets hungry.
We had a very active weekend, guys. We really appreciate all of our new subscribers. If this is your first time watching us, welcome to the show. We like to talk about movies and get
Sorry
drunk.
we're greeting you so drunk, but come on over to the party.
We've been here for a couple hours now. All right. And also, Jude, welcome to the show. Thank you.
Hi.
And Matthew Cadiz, producer of the show.
Good to be here. And I am the only sober one at the table.
Yes,
How
this is
dare
true.
And thank you for that.
All right, guys, before we dive super deep into the spoilers of Infinite, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. Welcome back. Hey, thanks for listening. If you would like to support the podcast, go to saltynerdclub.com. There you can find our Patreon page. You can get exclusive access to all kinds of really cool stuff like blooper reels, behind the scenes photo, some exclusive merch that we're working on right now. And if you don't want to join the Patreon, you can also go to saltynerdstore.com, and there we have a limited edition shirt that we're just going to make. It's Corky, the Jar of Corks, in honor of Mr. James Mangold. For giving us a nice little boost in our subscriber count. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Go support the podcast, saltynerdstore.com, or become a Patreon, saltynerdclub.com. All right, Jude, let's dive into Infinite. Go for it.
All right, sir. 2021 Infinite, rated PG-13 with a runtime of 1 hour, 46 minutes. I could not find what?
That's all it was?
Yeah.
God,
It
this
felt
movie
like longer, huh?
felt like so long.
Felt like
I-
6 hours.
It felt infinite, didn't
Yeah,
it?
it really did.
That's the beauty of the movie.
I was honestly shocked when you said that. I'm like, I thought this was like a 2-hour movie or something. 2.5 hours at least.
Yeah. It took us a couple of days to get through it.
I fell asleep.
Yeah, me too.
I fell asleep.
I was like, dude, we got to shut this off because I got to come back to it tomorrow. I'm not going
Yep.
to remember the
I
ending.
did exactly the same thing.
And then we started watching it again the next day, and I was like, wait, what? Rewind it more. And then I was like, no, yeah, that's what I thought had happened.
All right.
Okay, anyway, I couldn't find any budgetary information.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to find
It's
anything
weird
good.
with these streaming movies how they don't release information, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they don't want to tell you that they failed epically.
All right, so let me give you this.
Yeah, go for it.
All right. Infinites are people who have full recollection of their past lives. Nihilists want to kill the infinites. Chiwetel Ejiofor is looking for his magic-killing egg, and only Mark Wahlberg has the secret of its location locked inside his electroshock therapy-addled mind. They used to be friends, but Chiwetel is tired of living and would rather kill everything alive on the planet so that he doesn't have to be reincarnated anymore.
This movie was a pill.
You know what? The opening with that guy from Teen Wolf and the car chase.
It was really good.
I was in. I think I
like
texted
that.
all of you guys and I was like, yo, this movie's fun.
Yeah.
And like,
And then it just stopped.
well, it kept being fun. Like the whole thing with like him making the sword and his like inner monologue with like, I don't know why I know how to do this. And he like makes this sword and he is selling it for the antipsychotic drugs that he can't afford. I was into that story. And then about 45 minutes before the ending, I was like, what fresh nonsense hell am I in?
This movie to me had a ton of potential. Like when I
Yes.
saw the trailer, I was like, oh, cool. They're going to do like a pseudo Assassin's Creed kind of storyline. I'm a big fan of that video game franchise. The movie was terrible, but the video game
Well,
franchise.
you can't make a good movie out of a video
yeah,
game.
that's very true.
It is known.
But this movie had a lot of elements of like the Assassin's Creed universe. And I was like, oh, cool. It would be really awesome if they kind of took some elements from that and made it their own. I was really down for that idea. And like you said, the first 6-7 minutes of this movie, it was really fun, really
good.
cool.
Really good.
It jumped the shark
For
at a point.
sure.
And I was like,
I'll even say
How
like
dare you?
the first 40 minutes of it, I was invested.
see, here's the thing though, is like when I jumped into this and we got that first 6 minutes of action and we kind of set up the story, I felt like once we got past that, and once we kind of set up the basic idea of who these people are, once we got past that 6 minute area, the opening scene that I thought was really fun, I felt like the movie really dragged because it spent so much time.
Do you think that might be why we all fell asleep?
Yeah, honestly, yeah, because I fell asleep because they were explaining every detail of Mark Wahlberg's
Right. I was like,
life.
okay,
Yes.
you get reincarnated,
Like,
you
as-
remember your stuff.
As
and-
soon as he got his memories
Look,
back,
yeah.
I was very checked out.
Yeah.
I'm
Go
sorry,
ahead,
Beta,
Beta.
go
and
ahead.
then Mark Wahlberg gets triggered with the scene with the
Yeah.
guy with
that was
the
in the
bad guy
trailer.
with the gun that was in the trailer. I did not need the extra 45 minutes to explain that to me.
Yeah, yeah. They went through this almost as if they were like,
This 2-hour movie could have been 90 minutes.
yeah. Imagine if they took John Wick, right? They
Yeah.
took that movie, it's a fantastic movie,
And we did a half hour
But they
about him bonding with his dog.
but they spent
Yeah.
but they spent a half an hour explaining every single detail of the hotel and the assassins, like the whole thing.
don't need it.
You don't need it.
I
It's-
like my headcanon better.
It's very simple. It's a very simple premise. You could have went straight from that, introduced Mark Wahlberg, introduced him as a old character that's been living multiple lives, and then boom, straight into the action.
Mhm.
I would watch more of John Wick and his dog, though.
Yeah, I would too.
Maybe that was a bad example. Kadish, as a writer, do you have something else to say?
I was just going to say that I probably would have liked this movie a little better if it was directed by Michael Bay.
Oh, fuck you.
God damn, Jude.
Because it feels like a Michael Bay movie that could have been done way better.
Okay. Maybe.
I don't want that out there in the
Um,
universe.
All right. So, Kadish, give us your rundown as a writer. Is there anything that you do? What are your general thoughts on this movie?
I didn't like this movie.
Okay.
It started off okay, like the Dylan O'Brien car chase scene. Like the entire time I was watching that, I was like, "Is that the guy from Teen Wolf?"
Styles.
I can't tell. He looks like Styles, but he's got a beard. So it was, and it felt like that should have been the movie.
Mm.
You know, almost the Marky Mark movie should have been the sequel to that movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
We spent a lot of time like taking the first 6 minutes and being like, wait, is that this character from that? Is it, who's that? What's the girl?
Yeah.
Who's that?
Who's being reincarnated by
Yeah.
who? Yeah.
This is a little bit confusing.
Yeah,
but please continue.
and also the way the reincarnation works. So, like at the beginning of the movie, it looks like modern day.
Yeah.
And so when Marky Mark comes of age, in his 30s or whatever, you'd think that it would be sometime like in the future, and there'd be like futuristic. I guess there is kind of futuristic stuff with all the holograms that they were using and things like that.
I guess.
But they weren't very clear on the time periods.
well,
that they ran.
apparently that first few minutes was supposed to be in the 80s.
Didn't look like it.
It
was in
did
the 80s.
not. You're
So the Ferrari,
100% correct.
the Ferrari is from the 80s that they were driving.
Was it?
Yeah, that's an older Ferrari. I do agree with you guys. It very easily could have been just somebody driving an older Ferrari. So it wasn't really established that this took place 30 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And then when this character died, Mark Wahlberg, as a baby, became that same person and grew up.
I mean, this movie was kind of all over the place with like its setting and its time
Mhm.
periods and like what was going on, and it actually got confusing for me.
Yeah, it got bogged down.
And it's rare for me to be confused when watching like a movie. This is a film.
so smart.
This is a film by Antoine Fuqua, who did like Training Day
Oh,
and a
okay.
bunch of other stuff. Back when I was in film school, he used to be kind of a joke to us because he did this movie called The Replacement Killers, and he was a
Oh, with Ashton Kutcher?
No.
No.
no, it was with Chow Yun-fat. It was Chow Yun-fat's first American movie,
Huh.
and Mira Sorvino, I think. Basically, he was like a music video director who made the jump to features, and he didn't make very good movies. And then like he goes on and he makes like The Equalizer and Magnificent Seven and a bunch of other good movies like
Mhm.
Training Day and stuff like that. So this movie felt like he was kind of just phoning it in for the paycheck because it was really kind of like a paint by the numbers, stupid Michael Bay action movie.
Yeah, it did feel like a Michael Bay movie.
Yeah. Just like way over the top action. Like none of the mythology was really explained, even though it was interesting. The thing that I found most interesting about this movie is that it found its way, it was based on a book called The Reincarnationist Papers. And the author of that book crowdsourced his Hollywood pitching because he couldn't find an agent who would, take his book on to get it into the hands of Hollywood people. And so he put at the beginning of his book, it's like, hey, if you know anyone in Hollywood, please pass this book on to them. So because the movie rights are available. And so fans of the book, if they knew someone who worked in the industry, would give them the book and be like, hey, check this out.
Yeah.
And eventually it got picked up by someone at Paramount because of that. They found it in a hostel in some foreign country.
I think it's a super cool concept.
Yeah, I do too. I don't have an issue with the concept of the movie. It's just the delivery of it.
I was upset that I didn't think of that idea first for my Earthman Jack films. But yeah, overall, this film, it starts off kind of good and then it slowly unravels. And by the end, it's just ridiculous.
It's so absurd.
Yeah, they throw.
I think I sent a tweet out that said, did Marky Mark just jump a motorcycle off a cliff onto a cargo plane?
On a flying plane. Yeah.
And then later,
It was
that
crazy.
plane is crashing, but it's crashing from a much higher height than we just saw it at.
Yeah. The bad guy, Bathurst, he said, fly low. So they were a couple hundred feet over the ocean, and then when it starts doing a nosedive, and an entire 360 thing. A huge cargo plane can't do
Very
that.
Top Gun 360 inverted.
Yeah, but it's just they threw physics out the window. They threw every reasonable stretch of imagination out the window.
The weirdest thing is that Marky Mark's character has this
Stop
weird
calling him that.
superpower.
He's always Marky
He's
Mark.
got this weird power where he can somehow
manipulate air or
lean
something.
into the wind or something like that.
Yeah.
They never really
It's a
explain what it
very
is.
vague, weird superpower.
Yeah,
it's just a kind of a vague manipulation of some things
It's a
around him.
Deus Ex Machina is what it
Yeah.
is.
My wife was all, does he have superpowers? And I'm
Like,
I
I
don't
guess.
know. I don't know what
Well,
we're doing some weird
maybe?
camera stuff.
Well,
weird.
they also hinted that he might be either an alien or from some type of underwater city.
What?
Because he had
In the
flashbacks.
flashbacks.
He had flashbacks when he was remembering his past lives of
I was like, is
going
he from
through-
Atlantis?
Man,
Yeah.
don't make me go rewatch this
Oh.
thing. I don't
No.
want to.
Oh, God, no.
I didn't pick up on those.
Yeah, but he had these flashes of this underwater city that he was going through, and that somehow translated to him being able to kind of control the air.
He's an Atlantean.
Yeah. So it was just super weird. And there were these things. So there are two groups of infinites. There's the nihilist who
Want to kill everybody.
well they want to destroy all life so they can stop being reincarnated, because to them reincarnation is a curse. And the bad guy Bathurst, he said that from the moment that he appears in the womb, his brain is working,
Right.
and so he's just in there for 9 months not doing anything and being claustrophobic.
Slowly going insane.
Yeah, and so it's torture for him to be reborn, because he has full recall from the minute he's the fetus is conceived, basically.
That would be weird.
Yeah.
So, if that were me, and maybe, as an alternate plan, instead of destroying the entire world, maybe just, go live in a cabin somewhere, have a really long life, and just do that for a while.
The weird thing is so he's developed technology where he can shoot a bullet into an infinite's head
Yeah.
that captures their consciousness on a digital hard drive, and that prevents them from being reincarnated.
But apparently that's torture.
I was going to ask about that. That was one of the things.
They were never very, very clear on it. But if you can capture a consciousness onto a digital format, why not just create a computer program where he can live out his best life and not have to worry about going through the
Kadish
process
just
of
fixed the
reincarnation?
movie.
The magic bullet plot line where they can kill an infinite and keep them from reincarnating, that was complete nonsense. Because the first thing, I was watching this with my wife, and my wife was exactly the same thing, right? Okay, so I was explaining to the bad guy to her. She's like, okay, so the bad guy doesn't want to be reincarnated anymore. Why doesn't he just shoot himself in the head with one of those magic bullets?
Well, that's what Kadish said.
And yeah, exactly. It's the first thought that comes into your head. They don't need the magic bullet. That can be taken out of the movie completely.
Or even not having to shoot yourself in the head. If you have the technology to transfer your consciousness to a digital format, why not just
go
Oh,
be
gosh.
a
And
farmer
the
in a computer for forever.
The setup and payoff for this magic
Yeah,
bullet
it's
was
goofy.
so nonsense. At the end of the movie, the bad guy shoots Mark Wahlberg in the back of the head with one of these magic bullets.
This is my favorite part.
they set up early on that Mark Wahlberg has a metal plate in
Yeah.
his head.
Right.
Yeah.
Because
So he
he's
gets.
so crazy.
Well, it was a
Because-
motorcycle accident or
Because
something,
he's
right?
lived all of these lives,
Ugh.
and he had so much electroshock therapy, and he's schizophrenic.
So
So just this magic bullet thing.
yeah.
This is the first I've heard of this. I did not pick.
You didn't
up
pick
on
that up
in any of this part of this movie. I didn't. I didn't pick up on that in this movie. So either I really wasn't paying attention, or it was really poorly explained.
Both.
I think you watched it right.
Jude, 45 minutes into talking about this movie, Jude falls asleep again.
Yeah.
No, like that whole magic bullet thing was nonsense. But at the end of the movie, like the setup and payoff, quote, air quotes, he gets shot in the back of the head. And the bad guy's like, "Oh, I got him, ha ha ha!" And he goes and he's gonna go do
And
a bad guy thing.
Literally just plucks it out of the back of his head.
He's like, "Remember, I got a steel plate."
Remember?
And when that happened, I turned to Jude. I was like, "How thick does steel have to be to
Gosh,
keep a bullet from going?"
So
through?
dumb.
Several inches thick.
He would be dead 100%. His
Yeah.
brain would be pudding. It was so stupid. Like this movie threw.
So okay, not a good movie.
No,
I did enjoy the interrogation scene.
the interrogation. Well, that was in the trailer.
It was
though.
in the trailer, but
Okay, can we talk
I
about
liked
the
it.
sets?
I thought it was good.
The
Like,
what kind of a police station is this
Oh, yeah,
interrogation
it's-
happening in? That was like a tricked out mansion. Was that
I just
soundproofing foam on the walls, or was
Yeah.
it just like something cool?
It was just something cool. The same thing with the
scenes were over the top.
yeah. Every set was over the top because they go into the hangar and it's like this ultra sweet looking car with the jetliner behind them, and they're all like in this completely white environment.
How about the artisan's house?
Oh my gosh, it's just, everything was over the top. This is very. That's probably why it felt like a Michael Bay movie. It has all those elements to it, just the
Yeah.
over the top nonsense action
Yeah.
stuff. But it was so hard to believe that you couldn't really get into it.
I did like the artisan, but I think I just like that actor.
Jason Masukas.
Yeah.
Is that the barbarian dude with the beard? He was my favorite character in the
Oh
movie.
Yeah,
no, I
he's-
liked him too though. No, the artisan was the guy from The League.
Yeah, he's a comedic actor.
Oh, okay, yeah. I got
he
you.
was wearing eyeshadow this entire movie.
Yeah. He's also in Parks and Recreation. Plays
Okay.
one of- yeah.
Yeah, the guy who you're thinking of, he was actually in Game of Thrones.
Yes.
Was
he? He played Lim Lemoncloak, one of the Brotherhood Without Banners.
yes.
I thought he looked.
Oh, okay, cool. Right on. Yeah, no, this movie's not good. I would not suggest going and watching
No.
it.
Yeah.
We've been talking about it for a while. So I don't have
we
anything else
buy
to say
this?
about it.
The only
Or was
thing,
it free?
It's free with Paramount
Yeah,
Plus.
included with
Okay.
Paramount Plus.
Okay.
there's one thing that would have made this movie better.
Go for it.
Keanu Reeves
As Mark,
as Mark Wahlberg's character.
you know what? If they,
I would have been into it a little bit more.
So originally, Chris Evans was cast in this role,
Huh.
and he had a scheduling conflict, so he had to drop out. And that's when Marky Mark.
you know,
came
I
in.
generally like Mark Wahlberg. Like I
Yeah,
don't have a
he's all right at making bad schlocky.
yeah, I don't have a
movies.
problem with him as an actor or as an action star. He works. It's fine.
Well, you know, it's funny. Spencer Confidential, the last like straight to streaming thing that he did, was
Mhm.
pretty good.
Yeah, I would
Yeah,
like to
we
see
all liked it.
a sequel to that. Would have been
And
cool.
that's based on a detective series or something, right?
It's based on a series of books, which became like a TV series.
Okay.
I do enjoy the fact that these streaming services are exploring new
Taking
stories
chances.
and taking some chances with some of these sci-fi
Mhm.
action kind of movies.
Yeah,
I
Honestly-
appreciate that. This movie could have been better.
yeah. Honestly, if they,
Because I love the concept of this movie, it just was executed not so well.
Yeah.
you
And
know?
it just got to the point of unbelievability that I just couldn't get on
oh,
board with.
he's invulnerable at a certain point in this movie. Like he
Yeah.
falls out of a plane from 30,000 feet into the ocean, and he's just like, "I'm good."
yeah.
No, he
Oh no,
died.
he died.
Oh yeah,
It
he
killed
did
him.
die.
Oh, that's right.
And then he was reborn.
He was reborn
in,
as an Asian kid.
If-
Indonesia.
if they had taken kind of a sci-fi John Wick approach to this,
Mhm.
or not John Wick, a sci-fi what's that movie with Matt Damon? Where he's the spy dude.
Jason Bourne.
Yeah, kind of a Jason Bourne sci-fi
Oh, okay.
kind of approach to this. I could see them making 8 movies in this world.
Well, so we
That
have
would be really
the
cool.
nihilists who are the bad guys who
Yeah.
want to destroy all life, and then we have the believers
Mhm.
who are the Justin Bieber fan club. But they believe that the reason that the infinites are on Earth is for a greater purpose, and they just don't know what that purpose is yet, and so they're trying to figure out what that is. And in the meantime, there's this like civil war going on between the believers and the nihilists, and there's this huge MacGuffin in this movie
Oh, the
where
egg was-
they have this like weird egg that
Yeah.
apparently contains like a virus that can wipe out all life, but they killed the guy who invented it, so it can't be recreated. But if you get the egg and you put it in a overly elaborate bomb,
An incubator, what have you.
that you can detonate in the atmosphere, it will set off a chain reaction that would kill all life on Earth.
Yeah, it's
It's
It
ridiculous.
just seems like
But then I have to wonder, like, wouldn't they get reincarnated on like a different planet?
I don't
Who
know.
knows?
Type thing?
Who knows? Who knows?
like the motivation. It was
It's
just yeah, it's real thin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So-
and again, like just the over the top aspect of the movie kind of lost me. They went
Yeah.
like I said, they jumped the shark. They jumped the shark and I lost
feel
it.
like they had like a very like a thin motivation, and then you have like this motivation held together with like a piece of tissue, and then you keep like adding more stuff
to it and it
for
just
me to
falls
believe,
apart.
and yeah, it completely
Honestly,
fell apart.
if they were to make a sequel and kind of bring it down a notch and ground it in a little bit more of a realistic version, I agree with Vader. I think there's a lot to explore here that could be really cool.
They
I
could have
could-
taken more of like a Matrix approach.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
What's
You know what I mean?
yeah.
What's that show that we were watching where they have like the sleeves and Anthony Mackie plays the main character?
Oh,
and then-
Altered Carbon.
Yeah,
Yes,
Altered
that.
Carbon.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
if they did like a kind of a futuristic approach like Altered Carbon, I could see that kind of working.
Yeah.
But I was kind of confused along the way as far as like when is this happening? And then all of a sudden they're using this technology and he's like firing off these drones and
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like maybe there was some stuff that was cut out because it was too long that would make it more believable.
It's like,
Maybe.
I think we went from like mid 80s to near future
Yeah.
because he's doing, like you just said, the drone thing with the
Yeah.
virtual controls. We're not quite there yet.
Yeah, I needed
know,
someone
so-
to take me there in this story
Right.
so that I could believe it more.
Yeah. Yeah. There's no indication that Mark Wahlberg was born in the 2000s and this is
Right.
like 2030 something.
Yeah.
Like there's no indication that that's happened.
Another issue is that so in the movie, the Bathurst character, who's the bad guy, he's trying to get this egg, and Mark Wahlberg's character Treadway, he has the egg, and at the beginning of the movie, Dylan O'Brien is playing Treadway, the guy from Teen Wolf, and he hides the egg inside his own body. And before he dies, he tells his colleagues to look inside. Remember, look inside. And, he falls off this huge crane to his death down below by impacting a car after killing that incarnation of Bathurst. And it's revealed throughout the movie that, the egg was inside Treadway's old body. And I was like, well, this is like 30 years later. What if they'd never saved that body? Like, what would have happened to the egg? Like, there was a lot of very contrived stuff going on there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The movie kind of, like I said, I've said it 4 times now. It jumped the shark. It's ridiculous.
It did. It jumped.
It was too goofy for me.
The part where he's on the motorcycle and he goes up that cliff and leaps
Jumps
off onto the
onto
crane,
a
on the
moving-
moving plane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the wing. Doesn't like jump inside because the hatch is open. He jumps on the wing and then stops.
Like Spider-Man.
Well, no, he uses his Hattori Hanzo samurai sword to like
Uh-huh.
keep from falling off
That's
the
not
wing.
better.
That's ridiculous.
But that was the moment where I was like, I'm done with this movie.
Yeah. All right. Vader, give us your final thoughts and
my
do you have
final thoughts.
if you have a rating for it.
I thought there was potential here,
Mm-hmm.
but they did. They jumped the shark. I'm going to give it 2 stars.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's
Sounds fair.
a fair. I think
Cool
rating for
visuals,
this.
cool concept,
Yeah.
terrible execution.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Jude, how about you?
I feel the exact same way. I really enjoyed the first like 40 minutes of it, and then it just got to the point where I was just like, "You're asking too much of me." So like half of this movie is great, and half of it is absurd. So yeah, I'm gonna split it right down the middle and give it 2.5 eggs,
World-ending eggs.
world-ending eggs.
2.5 MacGuffin eggs.
Yep.
Yep.
Mhm.
How about Kadish? How about you, buddy?
So this movie actually reminds me a lot of Mark Wahlberg's other movie, Max Payne.
I like that movie.
I haven't
I
seen
never saw
that.
that.
I don't think I've seen it.
It's not good. It's based on a video game and it does a very poor adaptation of it. But it's one of those movies where it's like Mark Wahlberg's just kind of boring in it, and he doesn't really carry the movie very well. And the movie's just kind of very blah. Like you're just kind of going along for the ride. It's like, when is this going to be over? It's not a very engaging film. It's a little bit convoluted and confusing. And I'm kind of like on the fence about giving this like a 1.5 star or a 2 star, because I do think it's an okay film. but it's not really good.
Right.
So I'm very like conflicted over like what I would rate
you're
this.
right there with us.
I would say that I can't pronounce his name, but the actor.
Chiwetel Ejiofor.
Yeah. Okay. Chiwetel.
I practiced.
Chiwetel Ejiofor. He acts his ass off.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
great.
And he steals every scene that he's in. Like I could watch him read the phone book.
He's a badass bad guy.
Yeah. He was fantastic. And like,
I mean, he's no Bolo Young, but
well, who is though? Like, you know, he was just acting circles around Mark Wahlberg in every scene he was in, and he really saved this movie for me. So yeah, I guess I'd give it 2 out of 5. Say hi to your mothers for me.
Okay. Yeah, I'm right there with you guys. This is a 2-star movie. Visually very fun. A lot of cool concepts, a lot of fun sci-fi stuff, but it just jumps the shark. It asks way too much, and it gets really bogged down in its own lore.
yeah.
And I don't think we needed that much of an explanation for things. You could, like what I would do is like have the movie play out. Don't spend so much time on building the backstory and lore. And if it catches fire and if people really like it, then the next movie can explore more of the lore. Like at this point in time, the next movie is not going to have anything to explain. It's going to be like, well, you already know everything. So
also the setup for the next movie at the end of this wasn't very good.
Yeah, it kind of is like, well, I mean, at that point, you don't really care.
The last 2 minutes.
Yeah, with the kid.
I actually liked that part.
Did you?
Yeah, I liked the beginning and the end. The middle was dragged for me.
Okay. Yeah, 2-star. That's it. That's our discussion for Infinite. It's on Paramount Plus. Did you guys suggest people watch it at all?
I feel like if you're a person who likes to watch movies and you don't really need it to be that believable, you'll probably like this a lot. But for us snobs who watch movies all the time and we talk about them, like we're expecting more out of a movie. So it's not for you if you want things to be like really believable and get invested in a story.
If you want to kill a 6-pack and watch a movie on Netflix or whatever, or Paramount Plus,
sure,
I guess.
yeah, it's a turn your brain off.
Turn your brain off action movie.
That's fine.
If you're a huge fan of Mark Wahlberg, go check it out.
Yeah.
It's not gonna. I wouldn't say it's a waste of your time.
No,
like because there's movies that you're like, don't watch it. It's a waste.
Yeah.
And like, yes, Chiwetel Ejiofor acts his ass off. You're absolutely 100% correct. But Mark Wahlberg isn't bad in this. It's just that he's so much better.
Yeah.
I feel like Mark Wahlberg is very charismatic, and I think he's a great actor. I really like his movies. I just didn't like the story.
Yeah. All right, guys, that's our discussion for Infinite. Thanks for tuning in. Tune in next week. We're going to pick another movie to talk about. SaltyNerdsVideo.com. Like, subscribe, comment. What did you think if you watched it? Let us know in the comments. And before we get out of here, Matt Vader, where can they find you on the socials?
You can find me on the socials and things at Matt Vader 74, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Here,
right on.
Stuff. Yeah.
And Jude, where can they find you?
You can find me at I am Jude Juju on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok.
And Matthew Kadish.
You can find me at Matthew Kadish, Kadish on Twitter, and kadishbooks.com takes you to my Amazon page.
And I'm your host. You can catch me on Twitter at salty_nerd. And as always, stay salty, my friends.